Hey, how's it going, guys? So it's been a while since the last devlog. I think I just burnt myself out, to be fair, but I'm back on it now, and I've added some new mechanics that I want to show you guys. These now make the game feel so much more rewarding to play, and so let's just get into it. So real quick, for anyone new here, this is the harvesting game I've been working on for a while now. It's basically an incremental game where you control a harvester, you clear out fields of crops, and you continue to upgrade your farm, your power-ups, and collect skins, things like that. So this is the game. Alright guys, so real quick, I just want to go through some of the UI improvements, which tie into the new level system later, and I touched on this in the last video, but basically, I swapped out the animations with tweens, and this made things a lot smoother and less demanding, so that was a win-win, and yeah, as you can see, this looks a lot cleaner now, so I was happy with this. I'm then also continuing to change the design of the UI here and there, just to make sure it's all consistent, so I've improved things again like the welcome back section, the buttons now look a lot cleaner and more polished, and they just fit in better. They've got the same stroke and things like that. And I did the same with other things too, like the farm prestige button, and as you can see on screen now. And then later on I'll show you how I've, this all tied into the new level system, which I want to make sure it's all consistent. I then also added a new progress bar for the player's level, and so then let's get into the new level system. So this system's very straightforward. We have three variables. We have the player's level, we have the player's current XP, and then we have the XP needed for the next level. So we've got three baseline variables to make this all work. And then all we have to do is we just have to make it so that for every crop collected, it just adds 1 to the player's XP, right? Now I might modify that down the line, but for now it's fine. And that just means so every level up, it just gets gradually harder. So once I did that all I had to do is make it so that the progress bar, its width matches the actual XP. And I did that with the action you can see on screen right now. And that final value at the end, that's just the actual width of the bar, right? And then lastly, all we have to do is we just have a check that runs every second also, which checks so once the player XP actually exceeds the XP needed variable, we then run this function called level up, which will bring us this new level up system. Alright guys, so right now I have a red sprite on screen that runs this function for testing, right? So as you can see, when I press this, we have a new level up UI. So this might change a little over time as well, but as you can see, we have our new level up, it shows the player's level, and then we have these 3 cards pop up on screen. The player then gets to choose one of the top 2 cards, which are gameplay based, and then they also get to choose the bottom card also, which is a cosmetic item, right? So the reason why I did it this way is this gave the player choice whilst also having that element of surprise at the same time, which I really enjoyed, right? And although halfway through this, I was starting to regret making this system so advanced, or not even advanced, but just so big, it just kept taking longer and longer than I was expecting, with all the different rewards on each different card, and it was just taking ages to actually get this system working. And so halfway through, I was like, oh man, I should have just made it, here's 50 coins, right? Or here's some gems. But anyways, so as you can see, when I click on these cards, we now have a nice animation flip. I made this using tweens, again, just like the, the UI. And then it'll show you a reward. So it'll also fade in a little title description, what you've earned. And yeah, overall, I was really happy with this. And the same goes for the cosmetic one also. So if I tap the cosmetic one too, as you can see, we get our cosmetic, same thing, description. And yeah, there's a little bit of work to do here still, but I'm pretty happy with this so far. It's made progressing a lot more fun and a lot more worth the grind. It was missing something before, and I think this is filling that gap a little better. We already had the, the prestige system, but that was just too long to grind for, other than leveling up your farm and your animals, things like that. This is a bit more of a concrete, a linear, you can keep improving, and you're also getting the skins, and you're getting the extra little buffs too, for your power-ups, and for your level. So yeah, overall, pretty happy with this. And so then for those guys here, who are interested more in how things actually work, or maybe, you want to make a system like this yourself, I'm not going to gatekeep this like on screen right now, I'll show you my function, right? So I'll scroll down, this is my level up function. So as you can see, we're setting all the variables, we're setting all the variables, and then we're also, we're setting the values in the dictionaries, things like that. So if you can make sense of this, it's obviously not a perfect code or events, whatever you want to call it, but it works. And so then we're setting the flips. And then once we do that, we just have a different section for each card, right? So, if you tap on each card. And so I'm not going to go through all this in detail just because there's a lot to talk about here, right? This took a while to make. And then once you've selected your cards, we have our level up button, which, resets all the values, just as you can see here, and it pushes you back into the game. And then for the dictionaries, to do the, the individual rewards, I actually had to create a second dictionary called Rewards Dictionary. And as you can see in here, the rewards aren't finished yet, but a good example is So for each one here, we have, you know, 0, 1, 2, whatever, plus descriptions. And then what I did is I had a random number generator at the start, which basically matches the animation frame of the level. I mean, not of the level, of the upgrade. So basically, depending on which one you got, it would set the frame, which matched this, and then the actual value corresponds to the name of the actual upgrade in the, you know, original dictionary. So it's a bit of a mess about, but it works, right? Like, and this is what took so long too, because I had to, you know, type in each of these different, you know, upgrades and descriptions, you know, and it just took a while. Like, as you can see, we'd set the base values, you know, for the next level, next XP. And this is the section where, you know, we're setting the actual frame that I just mentioned. So we have a different variable for each, you know, an index variable. We're setting it to a random between 0 and the number of frames, which is the number of upgrades in each card. Right, so as you can see here, so I will just try to go through it a little bit more. So as you can see here, each animation frame would represent a different upgrade. Like here, look, so each one's a different, you know, cosmetic, which is the best example because the, you know, the skins is the most complete. And then once it did that, as we go down, it would do it based on the actual frame, right? So again, we go here, and you can just kind of see what happens. So when you tap on it, and it sets the purple selected to this, which is the purple underscore index, which is why it all represents these here, right? So yeah, really not the best, you know, explanation at all. Like, I'm not trying to be like, you know, weird about it. It's a lot to explain. And I'm also not too sure how many of you guys are actually interested in the whole, you know, technicality of how it works. And also, there's probably a much better way of doing this. Like, this did not seem the most optimized method at all, but this is what I came up with. This is how it works. And it does work. So that's the most important thing, right? Like, it works. So yeah, I think that's it for this one, guys. I mean, the only other thing I added is, I've just changed some more cosmetic things, but, you know, nothing too major. You know, I also changed the grass color. I added these flowers and things, but I'm still working on that. But that's another thing for another video. You know, I want to also make this environment look a bit more interesting also. But yeah, that's it for this one, guys. I hope it was interesting. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to try to get more videos done soon. And I also want to be done with this game soon now as well. Like, you know, I've been working on this too long. And I have loads of great ideas that I want to move forward with. So yeah, that's it anyways. So take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.